Welcome back to Fantastic Fridays here on News Talk 93 FM. I want to say big up to everybody that's got it locked in. Yeah, man, welcome. I see another new person jumping in. Who is that? Gold Child? Yeah, man, God's Child, welcome. Yeah, man, big up to everybody got it locked into Fantastic Friday here on News Talk 93 FM. You know the Shreps right now. You're locked into the segment called Talk the Ting with Kim. I'm Mr. Fresh Concept filling in for Kim. Yeah. We continue our Child Month topic or Child Month discussion as we focus on the Child Month team. Act Now, Stand Against Child Abuse and Exploitation. Now we look at our discussion topic today. We continue with It Takes a Village to Raise a Child. Is this still applicable in 2025? Is this something that is very much present? Can we still make it work? Or is all of that done with? You know what I'm saying? What are your views? Drop your comments on the live at Funtastic 93 FM. Drop your comments via WhatsApp at 876-792-3530. Drop your comments in our YouTube comment section below. Let us know what you think. It takes a village to raise a child. Is this still possible in 2025? Does it still make sense? Is it still, applicable? Now, in our discussion segment, we've looked at what the traditional village is so far. Back in the earlier days, where you would have your grandparents looking out for you, your aunts, your uncle, your godparents, your teachers, and people even in the neighborhood would be like, hey, no Master Jane son, that way you do out the road at 7 o'clock in the evening. Go on in. Yeah. That's how it used to be. And you might even get even a little whopping if you get in trouble on the road. And them carry you go to your parents' yard. Them right to your yard, hold you by your collar. Miss Jane, me see your son up the road and get trouble in my grandpa throw a stone and all these things off a people. And you get a next beating from your parents on it. That used to be the traditional village. Right? Now, the question was, does that village still exist? And I say, I think yes, it does. But the village has changed. So we looked at how the village has changed. We're talking about things like migration, urbanization, people moving from country to town. People have been shifted from their families or their networks in that sense. We're looking at how technology and globalization has impacted us. Children now are growing up in a digital world. They're able to connect with people from different cultures, countries, and all of that quick and fast. Back in the days growing up when I was young, we never have all these access. You know what I'm saying? We weren't able to connect and get information on the different cultures that easily. We had to go library or look it up on the internet or wherever, But we didn't have apps where persons could easily connect right off the bat. After a while, you had Hi-Fi, Facebook, and them things they come in gradually. But growing up, we didn't have that big network. Nowadays, Pitney Band, start IG, have 1,000 followers in, and them not even reach 10 good. Yeah, it happens. So these are some of the ways in which the village has changed, right? And the changes doesn't mean that the village is no longer there or it doesn't exist. It simply means that the village has changed, and the changes now prove more and more that we do need the village. Yeah? And it's very important because kids nowadays are facing new pressures. So back then we mostly had peer pressure. Now they have online bullying. They have mental health challenges that we didn't have. All these things, withdrawals from the digital world. You can't, oh my gosh, if you take away a child's phone, they might wear you down. Because it's a lot of emotional ties and mental ties to the technology and devices that they have been using all their life. Right? So now, nowadays, community involvement is more essential than ever. So it's important that we find ways to rebuild the village in today's Jamaica. Yeah. We need to find a way to rebuild the village, restore the village, reinforce the village. Now, to make the village work in today's society, we must intentionally rebuild it. So it's not something that's going to happen by itself. We have to take an active role in ensuring that the village is back in cycle. Now, the village that we're talking about now is not the back in the day village. It's not going to be a copy of what was in the past, but it's going to be a modern network of care, responsibility, and collaboration. So it's like a hybrid now. It's evolved. Yeah? And we're going to look at ways in which we can play our part in rebuilding the village that it takes to raise the child. Because our children need proper guidance. Yeah. Most of the time I see our kids on the street, I'm like, wow, where is mommy, where is daddy? What can we do to get this child the help they need? Now, let's look at ways we can rebuild the village. Number one, strengthening local communities. Yeah. We can begin by strengthening local communities. What do we mean? One, you encourage neighborhood watch programs to ensure safety, and this will also foster trust. Is there a neighborhood watch in your community? They used to have one. They used to have even science, and they used to play active roles. If somebody said, boy, listen, there was an accident at my house, neighborhood watch would be like, yeah, I saw somebody coming from that side, such and such, and they'll be active in ensuring that they're looking out for everybody or looking out for each other. So that needs to be back in place, right? We need to encourage neighborhood watch programs to ensure safety and also foster trust. Yeah, neighborhood watch, very physical, very healthy. All right, I don't know if you want to add little digital elements to it. Neighborhood watch, you set up some cameras, whatever it is. Once it's properly monitored and the people are interacted with the information that they have. Now, number two, when we're talking about strengthening our local communities, we need to host community events, youth clubs, parenting workshop, building relationships, partnerships, teamwork, starting a business. All these community events and forums need to be put in place and on a regular basis. We tend to kind of fall off in that arena because some persons might like a particular item and that's it. You know what I say? But we need to understand that these clubs, workshop, build relationships. They foster teamwork. They encourage unity. You're in communities right now, you don't even know the neighbor. And if you know the neighbor, you don't know the next door neighbor, the person that's next to your neighbor. No, we don't know them. If you are actively involved in the neighborhood watch or a community club such as youth clubs or parenting workshop and so on, you get to meet and interact with other persons from the community, and you're better able to be a part of the village. Because if I know you are my help, look out for your things, and you are less worrisome. Because I say, yeah man, I'm a bridging, so yeah, I'm going to make sure I'm alright. But if I don't know you, I'm just a steer you down, so you're going to be like, what is going on? Yeah? And then, you know, Jamaica's already, while somebody has stayed for you too long, I chat them, I chat me. So that level of, I would say, distance needs to be closed, where we have community members actively engaged by whatever community events it is, or youth clubs, or parenting workshop, and they'll be able to build better relationships, not just when arguments them come out. Yeah, they come out for games and fun and food and all of the good stuff them, not just for problems and bills. All right, another way that we can strengthen our local communities is to empower churches and civic groups to serve as moral and emotional support center. All right, so this one we put them out to the parents. You want your child to, you know, have a bit of guidance and discipline. Yeah, places like, as I said, mentioned, youth club, churches, so on, helps to teach a bit of moral and emotional support. So if we want to get somewhat back to village mentality, where the village is raising the child, we have to consider these clubs and youth groups and community events and churches and civic groups that they are there to teach the child as well and to serve as moral and emotional support. And it just pretty looks. Alright? So, one of the ways that we can rebuild the village in modern day Jamaica is strengthen your local communities. Once the people start to become strong, you want to consider using the schools as community hubs. Yeah. Use the school as community hubs. Now, here what? Schools should not just educate, but partner with families and communities. I understand that, you know, you might say, okay, I send my child to school Monday to Friday, whatever it is. Yeah, even because at the class, but not only that, when the school serve as a benefit to the community, whether persons can go there for netball, football, it allows them to realize that the school is there for their protection, for their use, for their safety. Right? So schools should not just educate, but partner with families and communities to help build the child's development. School as community hubs, they can engage parents, alumni, and community leaders in mentorship, career talks, and extracurricular activities. So you see that? In getting the society back to a village mentality, but not just the old village mentality, but a hybrid version that's applicable in 2025, schools are the community hubs. They're not just educating students, but they are partnering families and communities. They're engaging alumni, community leaders in mentorship, and they're having career talks and extracurricular activities. Yeah, that's extracurricular activities. Right? Schools have that power. When you realize a child or children, your children are, you know, seeing the school as a place of a community, not just go there to learn and come back home, but a means to all these different activities as well, they'll be more respectful, they'll be more understanding, and they'll be more appreciative of schools. It won't be I can't buy a school for book and pen. They'll know that they have other aspects in their development taking place there as well. Alright. This is the downfall right now of many, but it has very great potential and we are able to use it for good. So, number 3 in our methods when we're considering rebuilding the community, we're looking at leveraging technology wisely. Yeah. You have technology at your fingertips. People be like, oh, I can't buy the phone, whatever. But you will learn. It's not hard to learn. Even Pitney does band 1-2 year will know to operate one. So what that say about you? That means you're not stable. Alright. But use technology to your advantage. So whether it be WhatsApp groups, parenting forums, school apps, keep all these in a specific section and keep them together, because all of these are influential platform. WhatsApp group, amount of people always invite in a group, but when you do get a group, you have like community groups, church group, work group. These are all a bunch of people who share something in common. But not only that, these WhatsApp groups and parenting forums are able to keep the lines of communication open even when you're not physically at the school or where you should be. Yeah? So whether it be the neighborhood watch, yeah, the neighborhood watch should have at least a WhatsApp group, or I guess depends on how they communicate, but yeah, I would hope they have more than one, not just one mic, but more than one ways in which persons can participate. Yeah? Once you have identified that, you promote the positive online influences and teach children to think critically about social media. You have to be responsible parents nowadays. You can't just take up your device and get a child at age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably 7 too, because some of them, you know? Yeah. Because the internet is wide and vast, but not only that, it can be very critical. So, promote positive online influences, and teach children to think critically about social media. Therefore, not everything you see on social media you must believe, and not everything is precise. Sometimes things are adjusted or filtered, but that is how it is. Yeah? Now, we're continuing with ways we can rebuild our village, and this one is a big one. This one can help to restore some of what we've lost. It's involving men and fathers. If we're gonna do it, we cannot leave out the man, and we can't leave out ladies. So you're not gonna make things better for yourself just so, and you're together with somebody. It's gonna be rough, right? No. When we're talking about it takes a village, involving men and fathers, this address cultural norms that discourage male involvement in child rearing. Yeah, enough of them said, no man, the mother have it all by herself, but that don't mean the mother is doing her best or doing what's best for the child. If you're able to involve men as it relates to addressing the cultural norms, yeah, please do, because men should be a part of this discussion. We should definitely be a part of this discussion. All right? Now, in involving men as well, you want to create safe spaces for men to mentor the boys and support each other as fathers. Right? And in some cases, sometimes the girls might even be more willing to listen to them father than the mother. There's cases. They're vice versa. Sometimes the boy child prefer to listen to their mother. It's strange sometimes. There's no one way or tick for it to go through, but at some point they'll pick a side, or somebody they'll listen to more or believe more, yeah? Especially when you know so them say, oh, you're gonna get a whopping. If you don't get them whopping in 7 years or whatever, they might look at you like, what? You know what I say? So, involve men and fathers in the child rearing activities, address cultural norms that discourage male involvement, and I want you guys to create safe spaces for men to mentor boys and also support each other. All right? So, number 5, as we look to rebuild the village, we look at point number 5. We need to support vulnerable families. Yes. And everybody's strong enough to make it true. We need to support where we possibly can. Support vulnerable families. So government and NGOs can offer more structured support for single mothers, youths at risk, and low-income household. Yeah, government and NGOs, they can do better. They can offer more. Now, parents with businesses to provide after-school programs and child care support. So, in order to support the vulnerable families, we need to partner with businesses to provide after-school programs and child care support. So, whether you're a part of your community group or no, suggest to them, yeah, we need after-school homework program or reading program, stuff like that. And you can also provide child care support with that. So, yeah, don't just stand or sit back or watch everything fall apart. Be an active member or active partner in making a better Jamaica, in rebuilding the village so that it can raise our children. All right, so let's wrap up. Raising a child in 2015 Jamaica still requires a village. I do believe so. But that village must be 1, intentional, 2, inclusive, and 3, adaptive. Yeah? It must honor the wisdom of the past while embracing the tools and realities of today. So like WhatsApp, online communication, Find My Friend and all these things. Yeah, utilize those tools and that are available today to help your village to be active. Yeah? So whether we are parents, teachers, neighbors, religious leader, or citizens, we each have a role to play in shaping the next generation. Okay, I mean one. Drop your comments if you agree, if you understand, if you believe, if you're in agreement with me, right? So I'm saying, whether we are parents, teachers, neighbors, religious leaders, or just citizens, we each have our part to play in shaping the next generation, right? So when we share the burden and the joy of raising our children, we build not only stronger individual, but a stronger and more united Jamaica. Yes, people. Big up to Dreamy TT, tourists in the building, large up yourself, it's Gold Gem, sending the claps, the applauds. Yeah, but it takes a village to raise a child, it still does. But what I would say is that the village has changed, has transformed, it's a bit more digital than it was physical, but it still exists and it can still benefit our children. We just have to go through these steps that I mentioned to make it work. Yeah. So there were 3 things that we looked at. We looked at understanding what was the traditional village. Yeah. We then looked at I want to say traditional village, you know, auntie, uncle, godparents, teacher, neighbors, everybody in the community used to can say, hey, put down that, or I'm going to tell your mother, or I'm carrying it to your mother right now. Yeah. People in the community could play their part as it relates to that. Now, the village has changed, and ways in which it has changed, as families are migrating, people are moving about, technology has expanded or adjusted the world. There's a decline in trust and safety concern, like people no longer trust any and everybody nowadays, and there's a safety concern out there that, you know, are we safe out there, you know? Are our kids safe? So these kinds of fears will reduce the level of, I would say, interaction that a child is able to interact. You know, your child going out there interacting with everybody, you have to try and be safe. Yeah, so you can't be just kind of acting and say go anywhere. No, you still have to kind of monitor or keep an eye on where or when or who your child interacts with, because you don't know everybody. You can't trust everybody. You've seen it, you know, you don't know who to trust sometimes, so you have to try and be safe. And we looked at the single parent and working parent households, where, yeah, that village that used to have mother and father in it and all of that, even though it's down to one person, it's still balanced for some persons, and it's definitely proves the point that support systems are more necessary now than before. Yeah. So we looked at rebuilding the village in modern Jamaica and current Jamaica. We looked at strengthening local communities. We looked at setting up schools as community hubs, ensuring that we have community-based activities taking place at our schools regularly. Because parents, you can't have child I go school and you don't know the school there, you don't know which class your child and all these things, yeah? So these activities will get people in the community to come on out to the schools, get familiar with the schools, the teachers, the faculty. So the whole community is intertwined. Yeah. We also looked at leveraging technology wisely. You know, we have WhatsApp, we have all these platforms. Create WhatsApp groups so parents can communicate with other parents. So people in the neighborhood watch can communicate, ensure that kids are safe out there. Use these WhatsApp groups and parenting forums and other social apps to help keep the lines of communication open, and also to promote positive online influences and teach children to think critically about social media. When they're going on social media, you have to give them the breakdown. You can't just trust or allow them to do what they feel like. That will lead into problems. Alright, so another important step in rebuilding the village in modern Jamaica was involving men and fathers. Yes, men, we need to play our role. Yeah. Men being present will help to address cultural norms that discourage male involvement. And then also, if we're nearby, we help to create a safe space and provide the opportunity for more men to mentor boys and support each other as fathers. Yeah. And we also looked at supporting vulnerable families, whether it's be through government or NGO. They can provide programs, platforms to help single mothers, single parents, youths at risk, or low-income households. And also partnering or supporting vulnerable families, we can partner with businesses to provide after-school programs and childcare, as we mentioned, homework group, SBA group, so that the child has that support system. Nowadays, most people go home, the mother don't know the maths, the child don't know the maths, so the maths they do. If there's a homework center, there's somebody who specializes in the main roles and are able to help to make a difference. So people, it takes a village to raise a child. It still does, but we just got to shift around our village. We got to adjust our village. The village is no longer the same physical village that we had, where people and neighbors are looking out for the child, interrupting and interacting with the child. We have to be doing so from afar, in a sense that we're using our WhatsApp groups, we're using our platforms, we're calling upon safety for the children, we're protecting our children, and we're educating our children to let them know where is safe, what and what is acceptable, and also how to do things like, scream or call for help, or who to contact, or where to go if you look like you need help, or if you're at school and somebody a bully you, who to contact, who to go to. If you're left at home with let's say a relative, and the relative doing things that they shouldn't be doing, who do you go to next? All of these steps we should be educating our children about, so that they are empowered to protect themselves. That village still needs to step up. All right, and we see here comment coming from Drini TT. Let me see what Drini has to say, and then we're gonna wrap up for today. Okay, yeah man, people, we continue with the Child's Month, people. I mean, we've had some rough news stories this month. Even though it was Child's Month, boy, the criminals and the negative elements out there were still active. So we have to consider the safety of our children. Some of these parents feel as though they should be the only person to discipline their child. Children feed off that energy and just do whatever they want whenever their parents aren't around. And yeah, we mentioned this earlier in the program. We understand that there's a lack of general trust nowadays, right? There's a decline in trust in the general public. We can't really and truly can't trust any and everybody with our child, and that's just facts nowadays, right? So while we understand that, as I said, it still cannot be the mentality that I'm me alone for do this. What happens when you're not around? So that is why we want to put these platforms in place, where we are encouraging or involving men and fathers, where we are using the schools for or extracurricular activities, or we're hosting parenting forums and activities at our schools. We're engaging with alumni, community leaders, so parents not only have their own little network, but they are educated with persons from the neighborhood watch. We know who does what, we know who is at the school, who is the teacher. So we have these set persons or key persons that hold important roles, that are held accountable and can play a part in whether it's disciplining the child or alerting the parent that the child has been, whether in discipline or rude or whatever it is. That person can reach out to the school, to the parent, and the parent can trust that source because it's one of these platforms that have been engaged. So people, want to thank you guys for joining us today. That's the end of our show. Albert 1876 here early. Shirley. We gotta go, people. Have a fantastic weekend. The next time you see us is gonna be June. Hope you guys stay safe out there. Fantastic Friday. Big up to all our guests. We're out.